Okay.
Yeah. Hello everyone. So myself Shrikant here, and today we have guest Soumik Shah, and I happen to met him on LinkedIn, and he's very good in technical background. So let me show his profile, and then we will get started. Yeah. So this is Soumik Saha. He's well versed in software development, and let's see his experience first. So he is from Kolkata. Okay, he has worked in different companies. So he has worked in Clover Infotech as application support specialist, then Codechi Technologies software engineer, Zero Power dot in Zero. He worked as a full stack developer. Okay, and currently is working in Wipro as a senior software engineer. So quite a good credential to his resume. Apart from this, this is his medium.com profile where he has written quite a good article. They are very interesting, honestly, and I happen to see this article which where he has designed a parking lot system in Java. He has given a really thorough thought process to design this, and later on we'll discuss about it more. Right, so over to you, Sonic. Can you please introduce yourself shortly?
Hi, Srikant. First of all, I'd like to say thank you so much for your wonderful introduction and Happy New Year to all of you, all of the viewers who are watching us. And yeah, so I have started my career as application support specialist. So I have mostly worked with SQL, and then I have moved to the LAMP stack, the Apache, Maven, MySQL. Mostly I've worked with core PHP side. Then I moved to the framework that is Laravel. And after that, I got to chance to work with Spring MVC. One part of MVC module I have worked. And from that, I have worked with technologies like Node.js, Angular, Spring Boot, and different Spring module. And apart from that, the DevOps side, I have experience working with cloud technologies like AWS and few DevOps tool. Like I have written pipeline script with GitHub Actions. I have set up monitoring tools like Prometheus, Grafana, the ELK stack. So yeah, this mostly in backend side, I have experience. So yeah, that's all about me.
Okay, Sonia. Okay. Yeah, so sounds interesting, and it is, I would say it is my pleasure to extract more and more info from your side so that it will be a good takeaway for the audience, right? So,
Yeah, definitely.
okay. So, typically, I will start with this. Um, Interview preparation. So somebody at your position, okay, or somebody, let's say, who is having 2 to 4 years of experience in software development side, what are your top 2, 3 tips to, go for interview? Let's say they want to have something in their resume or some interview tips, what you can, from your perspective.
I think for like if I have to give some suggestion, I would definitely say that first clear the fundamental things. So if you are going for any kind of backend developer role, so you should have clear fundamental understanding, right? So particularly if I have to say Java, so Java clear the fundamentals is very important, right? The OOP concept, object-oriented programming concept, collection framework, exception handling. So mostly these are important because no one is today work with mostly in core Java, but that core Java is the foundation. Ultimately, you have to work with some kind of framework, maybe Spring MVC, maybe Spring Boot. So it will give you the foundation, right? So that is very important. And second, I would like to add one more point that build as much project you can. That will not only showcase your skill to the interviewer, also you will get to know a lot of things once you or build something by yourself. So that is very important point. And third point, I would say that whenever you are writing your resume, just don't write that you know this technical stack, you have this much of experience. That is not enough for my perspective. I would say write something that whatever you have built, how it has helped in your organization or some kind of this kind of thing. If you have experience, or if you are freshers, then whatever project you have built, how it can solve the real life problem. If you have mentioned this kind of thing, then I think it would be better. It's for my experience.
Okay, so bring out the bring out the value you want to add based on your experience for the prospective company where you want to get hired, and definitely they will look into it. Okay. Right. So, moving on the same topic, upskilling, right? So, how do you upskill yourself, or what is your guidance to the audience? How should they upskill themselves?
Yeah, so this is very important and interesting aspect, right? So nowadays, a lot of technology is there, and we kind of, whenever we see some kind of new technologies, we think that I need to learn this technology, I need to learn that technology. But yes, that is fine. But you should be consistent to learning some technology, not that constant that always you have to learn, not like that. But yes, it should be consistent whenever you are learning something. Let's say let's say if I have to take Spring Boot 4 has released, right? So I know before Spring Boot 4 has released, I have worked with Spring Boot 3, right? So whenever I am getting some gets whenever I getting some chance, right, to see that what feature has new released as part of the Spring Boot 4, I just go through that feature first, not deep dive into that. So after that, whenever I have time, I will go to one feature and I will deep dive into that particular feature. And for upskilling, if I am learning new technology, first I try to understand the basic thing that what it solves. After that, once I'm comfortable with it, then I will go in deep dive into that what it is actually doing, because it is important. If you are first, whenever you are starting, if you are going in depth, you will stuck at some point of time, right? And this is very difficult for you as a learning perspective. But if you know, like, if whenever you are learning something, if you know that okay, this is how this problem solves, this is the algorithm, right? So if you have this basic understanding, then it is better that you can go in depth later. And I think the best way you can upskill, not just watching some YouTube videos, not just reading something. Again, you have to build. You have to dirty your hands by writing code and designing that particular system where whatever you are building. So yeah,
Okay, right. So clearly, the takeaway is, make your hands dirty, build something. Of course, there will be failures.
definitely,
Of course, there will be failures. There are a lot of failures. Even big companies, they also fail today, even if they are, billionaire or whatever.
definitely.
They fail, they work on it, they, upskill themselves, they try something, okay, and something works, and that is how we should progress. Okay, right. Moving on to the core agenda. Um, right. So moving from monolithic Java to distributed microservices on some cloud platform, for example, AWS. So walk us through, like, typical, what are your thought process when you move from monolithic to microservices thing? Some top three points. Thanks.
Yeah. So this is also very interesting aspect that, and I think we nowadays we are talking about microservices architecture, but it's first we should ask question that is it really needed whenever we are in terms of application, whenever we have built. Let's take an example, right? Let's say an employee management system, right? So if you are building that system, you first need to ask yourself few questions, that is it really needed to go for microservice architecture? Because microservice architecture, definitely it will gives you some benefits, but there are some cost you need to also think of, in terms of what, in terms of network latency, in terms of complexity. The complexity involves it whenever you are break down your system, right? So there will be a lot of component you need to also integrate. So can you is it really needed? Because if that is not needed, we are unnecessary making things complex, right? So we need to first ask that in terms of 2 3 years or 5 years max, this application can it grow? Can my user base grow? And I think mostly there are requirement, there are scenarios where internal application is built on microservices architecture, but mostly microservices architecture which I have seen, those are internet facing, right? So those are mainly in microservices architecture. And mostly I think if we observe carefully, let's say a simple example again, employee management system, right? There is no need to go for microservices architecture. You can do it service oriented architecture, you can do it with modular monolithic, right? So microservice involves a lot of complexity, and if you can bear that complexity, definitely you should go. But I think unnecessary, we shouldn't make our application that much of complex. And another point, whenever we are making a service and going for microservices architecture, we can think of deployment aspect as well, right? So it is not easy that for Microsoft, for monolithic part we can easily deploy, because that is the one application, it is easily deployable, right? But whenever we are talking about microservices, there may be 60 70 100 microservices you have built, right? You need to also consider that aspect, that how quickly my application can be deployed and how much scalable that particular application is. So you need to also consider those scenarios.
All right. So yes, let's debate on it. And I have a slightly different view, not because the microservice topic is the popular one, but just a practical scenario based on my experience. So I worked for
Mhm.
some UK-based client, and there they had some service. Okay, it was working fine. It was basically again for the educational domain only. It was working fine, but lately what happened is it started failing because of unnecessary load or some internal uh, specific coding things what they implemented, and it was an old technology. Okay, it was not even Java. Okay,
Okay.
some old technology. Now what happened?
Okay.
2020, right? 2021, 2022, they started facing backlash from the customers. Okay, this is not working. There are latency issues, so many other things. Bad feedback, basically. On top of that, there was this technology issue that nowadays nobody want to work on old technology. Everybody want to go to let's say Java, Python, whatever, new things, right? So they
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
for this business case, not on technical side, but for this business case, they had to implement microservice, and that too on the latest technology. So now, how do you see? Okay, business case is there, and it is a pressure from the management. So, what is your take on it?
Yeah, if that is the requirement, I mean business needs that, then definitely we should look for it, we should go for it. But it's not like that definitely in then and there we should go for I mean we should break down our services and we should convert it to microservices, because whenever we are breaking down a system, so there will be some complexity. There's complexity in terms of you need to properly define your boundaries, right? So you can, let's say, take any of the services. Let's say the service which has a lot of loads, right? You extract that services and you try to build out of that services microservice, that particular microservice. Okay, you don't need to go. I mean, whenever you are thinking of converting into microservices, what you can do is first, whatever whatever load is coming for that particular microservices, you have extracted that services and you convert it to microservice. So deploy that microservices, but you should also available your old application, right? Because you need to test it properly. So there are a couple of microservices design pattern is there. I would say there is something called strangler pattern, and the deployment side, blue green deployment we can follow. But yeah, if business needs it, definitely we should go for it. But before going to that particular directly going to the converting to microservices, we need to first think that what will be the boundary, because that is very important.
Okay. Right, interesting. So again, the same example. So what we did, as part of that particular project, there are a couple of, let's say there are 10 calls which are going to this microservice, monolithic service. So what they did is the one which are problematic, the one which are important, okay, the one which were having a lot of issues, they took out those calls and they separated it. Okay, again, it's not like a complete microservice approach, but they made it as a different service. Okay, so slowly one chunk is moved out. Of course, the fallback is still on the monolithic. Okay, if something happens to this microservice, some deployment issue or some this thing, they will fall back to this thing. Okay, so slowly they moved one part, then they moved another part, and the third part, maybe the payment related things are the first thing to go as a service architecture, maybe not a microservice but just a service. And that's how gradually of course, with all the precautions, they moved it like a distributed architecture, and some of them were microservices.
Yes, that is that was I was also telling that you need to gradually move it, not like whole system. You need to break it down into microservices and then you should deploy. So I think yeah, that is the thing we should do whenever we are breaking down one monolithic to microservices.
Okay, now coming to Java, again, it's a favorite language for programming for many developers and for generations.
Yeah.
Why Java still remains the backbone of enterprise software? What is your take on it?
So yeah, that is very interesting because most people right now think that Java is old language, but people doesn't know about that Java, how powerful Java is. So we see only the few part of the Java, right? But anyone, if interested, they can look for reflection. That is a wonderful thing. The reflection is backbone of most of the framework, right? It has like the capabilities that it can like do a lot of things with your bytecode. But why it is so still popular nowadays? Because Java has a very popular and strong ecosystem, and it has proven that there are a lot of enterprise applications still running. Those was built around 20-25 years ago, maybe, right? Plus, Java is one of the main reason because previously, right now, whenever we are developing any kind of mobile application, we are using Kotlin. But Java is still best choice for developing Android application. So it will give you a lot of a native device feature whenever you are designing and developing any kind of mobile application. And apart from that, Java has evolved a lot. Like once this Java 1.8 has been introduced, so functional programming has been introduced, right? So you can write code very easy with less boilerplate code, right? And the stream APIs has been introduced. So this kind of thing, I would say that one of the main reason why Java is still in market. And apart from it, Java is by default secure. If I have to talk about security perspective, Java has inbuilt security features, right? So I think there are if I have to talk to why Java still remains the backbone, there are hundreds of features I can go, but these are the main features which I think.
Okay, so coming from a Java developer is a big thing, but I would say from my perspective also, see, Java is time and tested for maybe a million applications, enterprise application currently,
Yeah.
and not only for 1 or 2 years, it is there like let's say 20 years. So
20
so
years, correct.
so definitely it becomes a very good and default choice for anybody who wants to design or develop any software backend. Okay, so if you want to go for stability, go for time and tested, which is Java. Of course, there are other applications, other programming languages are there which are having new benefits, but Java still remains the backbone, right? Okay. How?
Srikant, I would like to add one more point here because uh, choosing framework or choosing language, I think it's depend on the requirement, right? If you are developing any kind of batch application, I think Java is very much powerful on that, right? Because if when in terms of a CPU intensive task because there are two kind of task we can categorize. So one is, am I audible, Second?
Yes.
So yeah, so I was telling that before selecting any kind of programming language or feature, we must analyze the requirement, right? So Java is powerful for when you have CPU intensive task, right? You are performing some kind of batch operation. Java is very much helpful, but if we have lots of IO bound operation and you need to quickly develop that application, maybe Node.js is better option. But still, right now Java has evolved because this wave flux and project reactor is coming to the picture, and virtual threads and come into the picture. So yeah, I think this is one of the main reason, one of the main point we should also think of before choosing any kind of technology.
Okay. So again, I don't want to say that go for Java only. As you said, there are new features coming up in Java. But then if Node.js is again time and tested for the different needs, we should go for that. Okay, the one which is time and tested, which is stable, and of course that
Definitely.
if you have less time, go for the one which is quick. But once you have a good traffic,
Yeah.
once there are a lot of business cases on it and the management expects stability, then maybe you can come back for the stable, which is Java. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So moving on, again, so coming back to your case study, and this is what I loved. You designed a simple uh, parking lot booking system. So walk us through, how did you, so what was the concept when you started, and then how did you reach to current stage where, you are claiming it is almost production ready. So walk us through the stages.
Yeah. So first of all, I was just doing some low-level design practice. I have never thought of that. I have never seen that what are the things that I should involve in this. I just played simple thinking. It was there that a parking lot. If I designing a parking lot system, right? So what it can contain. So parking lot first. It was my thinking process. It was my thought process. Whenever because I have written code at a last stage, but before that I have noted down what are the components, right? So low level design is all about how you are extracting your entities and how those entities are communicate with each other. So for this particular parking lot system, so definitely if from a very high level point of view, if we see, let's say if we are going into a mall, right, any kind of shopping mall, that shopping mall has parking lot. Now, in that parking lot, first we need to understand that what a parking lot can have. It can have different floors, right? So I have written it down that a parking lot first have different floor. Now, inside a floor, what it can have? Inside a floor, we can have multiple parking slot, right? So parking slot is the place where we can park our vehicle, right? Now, inside the parking slot, what is parking slot can contain? So parking slot can contain vehicle. Parking slot can contain that particular type of vehicle because it should clearly tells that what this particular domain is doing, right? So I have my thought process was it should be clearly tells whenever you are extracting your domain or extracting the component, it should clearly tells that what that particular component is doing. It's not about that everything you are doing in a one go. No, it will create the problem. So first, my thought process was that. Then I have written some end relationship that what component is doing what. Like let's say that a parking manager, a orchestrator should be there who will be handle this operation. So right. So a vehicle can have different types. It can have, right now I have only implemented three types like car, bike and truck, but it can have in future, it can have different kinds of vehicle, right? So but I have designed such a way that whenever I am introducing any kind of new vehicle, we I mean, I don't need to change a lot of code. I can just write that implementation and it will automatically work, right? So in terms of solid principle, I have think. So yeah, and if you want to go to any specific, I can go about it.
Yeah, so yeah, requirement perspective you explained, okay, and I get it. Um, from let's come back to a little low level, the design, the classes design, the framework thing. So you mentioned about the solid principles. Can you expand more on this?
Yeah. So basically, if you see that I was telling that first of all, solid principle. There are solid principle is a group of different kinds of principle. One class should have whenever we are talking about solid. So first thing is one class should be doing one thing, and it should do it. It should do it properly, right? So if you see my classes, if you see the classes, so each class, like there is parking manager, there is floor, there is parking slot, there is ticket. So each class is doing only what they're supposed to do. It's not like that they are messing up with other classes, right? So there is abstraction, right? So I have designed the vehicle class as an interface because I have not designed it like it is a pure abstract class, because I think that if I pass the concrete implementation, it will be difficult for me in terms of whenever there will be any change, right? So vehicle class, and if you are seeing right now the fourth class. So if you see this has only uh, those property and those methods which it's supposed to do, right? So yeah, so I'd say that my thought process was that each class is doing what it's supposed to do, what it is responsible to do, right?
Okay. Solid principle. Couple of other things you also mentioned. So let's go through it
So
quickly.
I have also one thing I would like to add here. I have also the pricing strategy. If you see, this is the strategy design pattern. So I have made it like there is a default strategy for pricing calculation. If you see, so I have used the strategy design pattern, and the one aspect I would like to highlight that is not implemented here. So in future, if uh, that requirement came that one uh, parking slot is available, but right now that parking slot is available for truck, but the vehicle which is coming, it is, let's say, bike, right? So in that parking slot, a bike can be parked in the truck slot, right? So also, it is important. So we need to also consider that aspect. So that is not implemented yet. So I am planning to implement that part also.
Actually, I was thinking of the same use case. Of course, I respect what you have designed. Okay, consider a scenario that there are vehicles coming and there are parking slots available, so they will fit in the particular parking slot. Okay, now
Yeah,
consider that two-wheeler
right.
parking slots are full. Okay, and now there are parking slots available only for truck. Okay, but there is no truck coming for today. Let's say there is some sports event, right? So for sports event, normally nobody goes in a truck, right? They will go for two-wheeler or four-wheeler. Okay, so now truck related parking slots are still available, and there are vehicles standing outside. They are asking if there is any available parking slot or not. So we can fit, say, 2 to 3 bikes in one parking slot for a truck. So that provision,
Yeah, yeah.
have you thought about it?
Yes, I am planning to implement it because in terms of the size also, I need to think that there should be that it's not about that in a track slot only one bike can park, right? So there should be a certain kind of one parking slot can have it should define its size, right? So that based on the shape or based on the size, we can tell that okay, three bikes may be parked or two car may be parked in a truck slot. Yes, I have thought that I should implement it, and I'm planning to implement that as
Okay, a little bit more on the ticketing side. Uh, the or ticketing or maybe the pricing side very quickly in the interest of time? Can you explain?
Yes. So basically, like how when I'm getting the ticket. So whenever I am parking, that time I am getting the ticket, right? And whenever I unpark, in that time the ticket has been issued based on that. I mean, how much time my car has been parked, and based on that, some price has been calculated, and I need to pay that, right? So I have used the pricing calculation. I have used the strategy pattern because there could be multiple strategy. There could be multiple for different kinds of vehicle. The price will be different, right? So it's not that one class should define all the thing, because let's say that there are certain next maybe in 1 month or 2 months there is requirement that new vehicle is coming and I need to design it. Then I need to change the classes again. So, but if I have designed, I have used the strategy so that the strategy can pick. I should pass that particular interface, or I should actually pass the interface, and it can automatically pick up that implementation. So based on the runtime, based on the when client is passing that particular thing.
Okay, okay. So if vehicle enters, they will get a ticket, and vehicle exits or unpark, then the time will be calculated, and based on the vehicle type, two-wheeler or bar, bike, car or truck, based on some
Yes, yes,
basic criteria, they will be built and they have to pay, right? Okay, right.
right, right.
Oh, yeah. Any quick top two learning you want to mention in the interest of time?
Uh, how can you please repeat that
So,
question
so,
again?
so as a takeaway from this discussion, when you started this your side project, right? What are the top two or three things you think will be helpful for audience if they want to build something like this, some anything like that?
Yeah, first, I think we should be thinking properly, and we should be noted down our thinking, right? What we want to actually build. Don't go for implementation first. Just write the thought process, what you are trying to build, right? And go step by step. Build that particular thing, and build that one component at a time. So this is how I approach any kind of problem. Let's say you are uh, you are giving me one kind of algorithm, right? You are giving me one kind of problem, let's say mark sort. So I have written mark sort code a long back, but I mean, but right now how I approach the problem. So clearly I would write the in pen and paper. I would write the problem. I break down the problem. I will draw the stack trace. I will implement that particular thing first in terms of algorithm, or you can say in terms of drawing. Then I would try to implement that, because it will be easy for me if you visualize something, and then I try to implement that thing in terms of code. So for me, this helped me a lot.
Okay, so I think yes, I can see that in your GitHub repo, you have mentioned the overview here and features and then design highlights, and this is important, the package structure, the folder structure which you
Yes,
which you,
yes,
you will think in future. Also this UML, this thing, so this UML and sequence diagram, this helps a lot from of course from the developer's perspective. How do you want to design, where are the dependencies, okay, which field is dependent on which other field in some other class, and so on. So I like this class diagram. I guess again the sequence diagram is very helpful, how the internal
flow is
API,
actually.
internal flow API calls, the request response. So this is sequence diagram is again important. Of course this comes with experience. So yeah, uh, sure. So Sonic, it was great having a discussion with you. I hope there will be a lot of takeaway from this session. Definitely, uh, in the interest of time, we will have few more sessions. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Srikant. Thank you so much. And it was really, I mean, really nice to be with in your podcast. And I hope we'll do the same thing again. Thank you.
Sure. So yeah, for the audience, please like, subscribe, and please go through Sonic's profile. Thank you.
Thank